Hi everybody, Mark here with Couch to Camino 2026, and guess what? 22 days until we leave for Spain. That's right, only 22, just a little over 3 weeks, and man, I am not ready. I am still, I'm working every day I can on the house to get it ready to go, but we'll get there. So just to give you an idea for the next few weeks before I take off for Spain, so this week we're going to talk about bathroom stuff. Next week we're going to do question and answer number 2. So if you have any questions or concerns about any of the past videos, what we talk about today, anything from deep in the past or just a question you've had about the Camino that you've never heard answered, please leave it down below, leave it on the community tab in the posts, or email me at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com. And I will include that in the next Q&A. Just right after that, we'll do an episode on everything I'm taking with me. I will show you everything that's going into my backpack, my clothes, toiletries, and all that good stuff, and give you an idea of what I think I need for an April Camino. And then after that, we may do one more quick Q&A, number 3, just before I leave. But to be brutally honest, that week before I leave, I've got so much stuff going on that, I need to get up and see my folks and take care of a bunch of loose odds and ends around here before I leave for a month and leave my wife to rampage around the farm. So we'll see if I can get that. If not, I'll see you guys when I get to Spain, where I am going to do the breakfast and lunch episodes that I promised you. What can you expect for breakfast and lunch on the Camino? Because it's different than what you might think it is. But we'll cover those when we get there. Today, a couple of things. I just want to hit these before we get into the topic. In my training video, I talked about the importance of training with your stuff, and here's a really good reason why. Even though I've done 5 Caminos, I know my stuff between Camino, hiking, hunting, I know my gear. When we went into Kansas City last week, I bought a new hoodie from REI, a North Face hoodie, because I really wanted something with a hood on it to keep the wind off the back of my neck. I've never had a jacket with a hood for the Camino, so I wanted to get something like that. I picked one up, and this morning was the first chance I've gotten to hike with it. And it was about 38, 39 degrees this morning at 7:20 when I left the house, and very high winds. And while it was comfortable, I ended up putting my rain shell on over it as a windbreaker, and I was warm, it was fine. But I realized that while my usual pullover and rain shell, I'm comfortable hiking down to about 20 degrees Fahrenheit in, this hoodie is light enough that maybe my comfortable temp lowest was going to be closer to 30. So even with the experience I've had with all of my gear, this was an important day to take that hoodie out, test drive it, make sure I understood its limitations, how it fit, isn't going to bind with my backpack. Everything's great. I'm really happy with it. But it shows you that taking your stuff out that you're going to use on the Camino while you're at home is valuable, because it really can change things. The second thing is, I told you when we did our episode on planning how to get to Spain to leave lots of time in your schedule for layovers and things that might happen with the airlines, but also your transition from the airport to your train stations to Saint Jean, however you're doing that. Here's something that came up. Now, I have about 3 hours between the time I land in Madrid and my train leaves to go to Lyon from Chamartín. Turns out the EU goes to daylight savings literally while I'm in the air. So there's a time change. If I wouldn't have really given myself lots of spare time, that could have really impacted trying to get to the train station. There's a chance that I could have landed with too little time in that transition, and suddenly it's a different time than it's supposed to be, and my train left an hour ago. So just be aware. Give yourself a little extra time, because those little moving parts really can mess you up. So, it's not going to hurt you. I always tell people, It's better to be bored for an hour in an airport or a train station than frantically pawing on your phone trying to figure out your next little transition or how to fix what just happened. So take the boredom over the anxiety of having to deal with something that happens. So food for thought. Favorite thing this week. For 3 days, I've been craving ice cream. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm losing weight again. So my favorite ice cream in Spain is nata. And nata is a slightly sweetened sweet cream ice cream. There's not a bunch of flavoring in it. It's a fairly neutral flavor. It's not even, it's more bland than vanilla. So I tend to not like real punchy ice creams. It's just my favorite. So anyway, I've been craving nata ice cream. I've got 22 days left before I can have some. I may have some for breakfast when I get to the airport in Madrid. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, Spain has fantastic ice cream. When you get there, try lots of ice creams. You're going to walk enough you can burn those calories off. So splurge a little bit because, the other thing is the ice cream you're going to get in a lot of times in restaurants and albergues and such with meals. It's going to be kind of school ice cream a lot of times. The stuff that comes in a little cardboard tub with the wooden spoon, where you actually taste the wooden spoon more than you taste the actual ice cream. But, memories. So, let's talk about this week's topic. That's right, bathroom stuff. Why are we taking a bunch of time on this? Honestly, it's because once you get to Spain, after your third or fourth day, you're going to kind of think back to this video and go, oh yeah, okay, now I get it. So here's the thing. I'm going to break this into indoor and outdoor. We'll start with indoor, then we'll go to outdoor. Message number one about traveling in Spain and France. Always have some coins in your pocket, anywhere from a 10 centi euro up to whatever, a euro or two. I haven't seen it a whole lot in Spain. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I've seen it ever in Spain. But there are public bathrooms in major cities that may require a small coin to get in and use. You will also see it sometimes in train stations. Now, I've never seen it at the train stations in Spain that you're most likely to use. I have seen it in France, where you have to pay to use a bathroom in a public train station. It's the weirdest thing. So just keep a little bit of change on you just in case. I suspect that's going away as culture and traditions kind of change, but just be aware it could happen. And sometimes there'll be a little change thing on the door of a stall if you need to use a stall. So be aware, have some coins, anywhere from a 5-10 centi euro on up. Just have some on you just in case. If you go into a bar, a restaurant, tienda, anything, and your intent is to use the restroom, please buy something, a cup of coffee, a Coke, a candy bar, something, just so you're not abusing the privilege of using their bathroom. Because trust me, during the busy time, when there are hundreds of thousands of pilgrims on the trail, it gets old for them dealing with us. So make it easier for them. In that light, if the bathroom you go to use is out of toilet paper, and I guarantee it's going to be out of toilet paper most of the time, particularly if you're there in the summer, let the bartender, let somebody working there know. It's not uncommon. It's happened to me a few times where I'll say, hey, the bathroom's out of paper. They'll just hand me a couple of rolls and point to the bathroom, and you go drop the toilet paper off to help out the next pilgrims. In that light, always carry with you toilet paper. This is just rolls, little mini rolls that I have stripped off a larger roll and put in a little 5x5 Ziploc, the same ones I use for my medication bags. You can put these in any Ziploc you want. Keep this in your pocket. As a matter of fact, I have a whole bathroom bag that we're going to be talking about a little more when we get to the outdoor stuff. But this I keep either in one of the outside pockets of my, actually I keep this whole bathroom bag in the outside pocket of my my backpack, so I can grab it when I need it. When I'm roaming around towns, I always put this in the pocket of my shorts or my pants, so I have it with me, or in my satchel if I've got my satchel. Because not having toilet paper if you need it kind of sucks. So just make sure you have your own supply, then you don't have to worry about it. And if you stay somewhere nice, you can kind of refill this as you go. But don't do it in a busy albergue or something where you're going to deprive other people. Speaking of albergues, if you're in a really busy albergue, you may go into the restroom and there's no toilet paper in the restroom. And you may have to go find a hospitalero to give you some more toilet paper, but just carry your own with you. It doesn't weigh anything to speak of, and just peace of mind. So the bathrooms in Europe, you're going to see next to somewhere in the bathroom, usually next to the stool, there's going to be a brush, a toilet brush. That brush is not for the janitorial staff to use to clean the toilet. It is for you to clean the toilet. If you do something that requires some maintenance on that bowl, grab that brush, clean it up, flush a couple times, rinse that brush out, put it back in the holder, do your job. It's just culturally, it's a thing, so it just keeps the bathroom nicer for everybody else who's behind you. And then when you get done, soap and water wash your hands and use some hand sanitizer. Hopefully you've got some hand sanitizer in your backpack or your satchel clipped onto you somewhere. Use your hand sanitizers. Wash your filthy pilgrim paws. It really should just be a law. Wash your filthy pilgrim paws. I know it's kind of gross, but it's just the way it is there. And honestly, it's why the public bathrooms in Europe tend to be a little nicer than they are here in the States, because everybody's on the same page. So, that's it for the indoor stuff. It's not overly complicated. Just be mindful of others. And biggest thing is, buy something if you go to a bar or something. That way they don't get mad at the rest of us. So let's talk about outdoor stuff. I'm going to go back and I'm going to reload here. And I'm going to talk about what I call my bathroom bag. This is a quart Ziploc. In it, I've got my small Ziploc that has my toilet paper rolls in it. Then I've got this little Ziploc that has a few things in it. I've got those little bags you can get at the dog park, or for when you take your dog out and you need to clean up their mess. I keep a couple of those in this bag. I also have antiseptic wipe towelettes, and I've got some little single-use hand sanitizers. This is for when you're out in the field. Let's talk about best practices for when you're going to have to take a bathroom break out in the field. If you're just going number one, it's not a big deal. Find a private space away from people. Get some get your privacy, whatever you want. Somebody emailed me and mentioned that a really good reason for female hikers to use ponchos is because you can basically use the poncho as a little privacy tent for when you need to use the restroom. Something I hadn't thought of. Primo advice. So maybe an okay reason to think about a poncho. So find your area. Now, here's the thing. If you're doing... Let me go past that, and then we'll come back. So do your stuff, wash your hands, sanitize your hands, whatever you need to do when you get done. Get on the way. If you're doing something more complicated, number two, here's what we need to do. There's going to be very obvious areas where people are doing this because, frankly, they're the place you think is going to be good and private, everybody else does too, and you're going to find lots of evidence of people using the restroom. Unfortunately, it's going to be, there's going to be human waste on the ground, and there's going to be used toilet paper. Frankly, it's disgusting, and it's my least favorite aspect of the Camino, and it's, frankly, everywhere. Now, there are some areas, Western Meseta into Galicia, where they are putting up signs telling you to, pick up your paper and be respectful of others. So just be aware it's something you're going to run into, and it's really startling the first few times you run into it. So if you do have to do something complicated, get into that private area. Look around, find a clear area, and dig a hole. Use your hiking pole, find a stick, whatever you need to do, dig a hole. Do what you need to do. And then after that, after you have applied the toilet paper of your choice, here's where the rest of the bag comes in. I will use the little bag from picking up dog waste to grab the soiled paper, wrap it up inside of this little dog waste bag. I'll use an antiseptic toilet or an antiseptic towelette to wash my paws off, and then hit my paws with the little one-shot hand sanitizer if my other hand sanitizer isn't available. And then tie the bag off, put it in an outside section of my backpack, and then the first place I can find trash, I'll drop it off. Once you get this bagged up, you get cleaned up, bury your refuse, and then find a good sized stick on the ground and stick it down into the mess you've just made. This tells other people, hey, there's some stuff under here you don't want to get into. In hiking, it's called a cat hole. But it lets everybody else know that maybe that's not a place you want to dig. It's just common courtesy. And you really, please, everything in this bag you can get very cheaply at Walmart, Target, whatever. Get some of these dog poo bags, get some hand sanitizer, some towelettes. Don't leave soiled paper on the Camino. It's frankly disgusting, and there's no reason for it. So an option for going back to what we talked about before when you're going number one, one option I have seen referenced in the hiking community is because our female Camino friends need to use toilet paper for obvious reasons. Instead of hauling toilet paper and then every time you urinate having to deal with packaging that up and throwing it away, it is not uncommon for hikers in the US to carry a bandana or a cloth in a Ziploc. Use the cloth after you urinate, however, slide it back into the baggie, end of the night or the end of the day, put this in your backpack. The end of the day, you hand wash that out or launder it when you do the rest of your laundry for the day, and that way you're not dealing with paper and you're not using up a bunch of paper. This is a better reusable item instead of messing with a bunch of paper and leaving a bunch of paper around. So just think about it, play with it a little bit, try it. Again, if you're going out on your training hikes and you need to test drive this stuff, by all means, please do. But just consider, make a, now I just refilled this morning. This will last me a couple of Caminos. I'm pretty good. I'm proud to say that in all of my Camino hiking, I've never had to use this. I've never gone to the bathroom outside where I've had to use this. On the Camino. I have during my training hikes in the city, which is weirdly embarrassing. But anyway, think about doing that. Again, it's your toilet paper, antiseptic towelette, some hand sanitizers, and bags for cleaning up after dogs. Super cheap. It weighs nothing. You've got it if you need it. So just consider doing that. Let's go through the list here. Well, that actually went fairly quickly. I'm at barely 20 minutes. What the heck? So let's just talk a little bit about, I promised I would talk to you about Burgos and lodging in Burgos. So I've only got about 3 options in Burgos for you, mainly because I've stayed in hotels with my wife a couple of times, and then it's so convoluted. My experience in Burgos, I've stayed there so many times as a pilgrim and a tourist that everything kind of gets melded together, and I can't remember which is which sometimes. But so let's start. On the low end budget, is one of the nicer albergues on the Camino. I really like it. It's Casa del Cubo y de los Lerma. It's tucked back behind the cathedral. It's an old school municipal albergue, lots of bunk beds, big old ancient building. It's a lot of fun. They've gotten some guff in the past because they were still holding on to some older traditional albergue vibes, like no, you can only stay here one night. You can't do this, you can't do that. By all reports, it's starting to loosen up a little bit as they realize that, you know, pilgrims from the 80s are not the pilgrims that are here now. So they're getting a little nicer about that. The great thing about where this albergue is, it's back behind the cathedral, so it's out of the main sort of social party area, so it's a little more quiet. But just as you exit the albergue and then look left, great little bar. They do great breakfasts in the morning. Even when I've stayed at other hotels, I'll go back around and get coffee and breakfast at this place just because they're really nice. And you can, if you've been at a hotel and kind of by yourself, getting into the Camino vibe and hanging out with the pilgrims for breakfast before you take off. And then the Camino just literally goes right up the hill from there. You're kind of on the Camino-ish. Okay, you're like 200 yards away. But really, it's a fun area. That's just a fun little spot. So consider that. So mid-range hotel is the Hotel Alda Intercos. I can never say that. I'm terrible at this. And I'll put the names of all this stuff down below in the description. So this is it's a chain hotel. The Aldas are kind of everywhere. Really nice rooms. They have decent breakfasts. There's nothing spectacular about it, but definitely worth looking into. Just a gorgeous little hotel. I kind of like them. So if you want to splurge, right outside the kind of west face of the cathedral is the Hotel Maison del Cid. Del Cid is one of the fancier hotels in the in Burgos. It shares the plaza with the cathedral. If you're lucky enough to get the right rooms, you literally wake up in the morning and you see the front of the cathedral, and it's glorious. It's really, really pretty. And it has by far the best breakfast buffet on the Camino. They've got everything twice over and more that you could ever think of. The breakfast is pricey, but if you're going to do just a splurge, give it a try. I tell you what, I'll just lay over a video right here of the room that my wife and I had in 2020 when she came. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And the folks there at the hotel, they upgraded us to this room. When I said that, they said, "Hey, you were just here." I said, "Yeah, I loved it so much I had to bring my wife, and we just had a small room." They upgraded us to this room with a cathedral view for free. It was really great. It was sweet. We spent some really fun days in Burgos. I love that town. So anyway, if it's in your mind to have a splurge, please consider the Maison del Cid. It's really cool. So, and Burgos is a amazing town. Great museums. It's worth a stay. So anyway, so that's it for this week's episode. It's just about bathroom stuff. Be considerate of others and yourself. Wash your damn hands. Use hand sanitizer. Don't get sick. I'm dead convinced this is where most illnesses come from, is cross-contamination of icky stuff on the Camino. Because keep in mind, The Camino can sometimes see, when you're reading about it, as a solitary sort of reflective thing, and it can be, but over 500,000 pilgrims complete the pilgrimage every year. You're not that alone. You're using a lot of common spaces. Wash your hands. So anyway, that's it for this week. I will see you next week. Please remember to send in questions for the next Q&A. And again, they can be over anything, old, new, something I haven't covered, something you think I might cover in the future. Ask those questions. I'll give you the best answers I can. And playing around with a little technology, you're going to see right around in here somewhere some things pop up. These are a couple of videos that you might enjoy, and please subscribe and like. It really does help. Remember, I'll never make a dime off this. Unfortunately. So anyway, I'll see you guys next week with Q&A number 2. Bye.